Hey, Flooring Pros, I'm Jerry Levinson, and this is the Flooring Business Podcast, where we talk to expert flooring dealers, suppliers, marketing experts, and software experts, and anyone who I believe is going to help you in your flooring business. Now, my mission is to give you good information that'll help you reach your goals. If you're just starting your business, or you're trying to reach $5 million in sales, or you're getting ready to sell your business, you're going to find useful information that'll help you reach your goals and profit now in the flooring industry. The Flooring Business Podcast is brought to you by Ring Ring Marketing. Go to ringringmarketing.com and request a free analysis of your website, your area, and your scope of work. They'll make recommendations on how to best strategize your marketing efforts so you get the best return on your investment. You'll even get a coach that helps you get better results. Okay, hey, Flooring Boys. So this week I've got on somebody I met at NWFA here recently. What was that, March? In New Orleans. I met Scott Banda there from Floorcloud. How's it going, Scott?
It's going great, Jerry. Very busy.
Now, this was a unique product, a unique idea that I haven't seen before. Definitely for the wood flooring industry. Probably going to be better for other industries as well, or other flooring types as well. The show was such a huge success. Was that the first time you did a show like that?
Actually, it was the second NWFA. We're normally at most of the big flooring shows, so that was our second NWFA show. It was great.
And you got over 85 companies to follow up with after that show.
Yeah, that show was really, really strong for us. I think now we're getting more and more NWFA members on board, so the word's spreading a bit. The folks at the NWFA Technical Center are, recommending our solution to certain people when they call in. So it was really good for us. I think we signed up something close to 28 new customers right after that show.
Wow. Yeah, that was the first time I've seen that. Well, it was the first time I went to an NWFA show. So okay. I'm trying to get more knowledgeable about the wood flooring industry in itself. And I do help out a lot of clients that specialize in wood flooring. And when I go see these events and go to talk to these guys, they have so much great opportunities to just do it better than anybody else. And this is one of the ways, one of the tools that's just, the cost is nothing for the benefits it provides. Tell us about Floorcloud. What does it do? What is the product?
Sure. In essence, we've built a technology application that consists of a mobile app. It runs on your tablet, your phone, as well as any computer. And we have sensors that basically a contractor will mount on the walls. They're about the size of a cell phone. And what they do is they capture the ambient temperature, relative humidity, and dew point. And they basically send that up through the cellular network to a database that we have in the cloud. And that database has all types of manufacturers' product specifications. And what we're doing is every hour we compare the job site conditions in real time against those manufacturer specifications. And if things go out of spec, our customer will get an alert on their phone so they can take corrective action in real time before things really escalate into a problem. So, for example, with hardwood specifically, and a lot of our clients are commercial flooring contractors working with resilient self-leveling underlayments and coatings and rubber flooring, all those things. But specific to hardwood, if someone basically shuts off building controls, HVAC, it gets too humid, too dry, obviously massive problems can happen. So our system is really being used to detect those things early so that someone can get in there and see what's going wrong.
Where do those specs come from? Like, do they have to enter it depending on the product that they're using? Does the flooring dealer have to enter those specs themselves?
No, we made it super simple where our database contains about 20,000 industry products right now, and we're adding to it all the time. So all that has to happen is when the flooring contractor's setting up a project in our software, which by the way takes about a minute, they will basically search our database by the brand of product that they're going to install. Once they find that brand, they can scroll down the product list, select the product they're going to work with, and hit save. Those specs are already preloaded in the database. And then I would just want to add that, we openly just say we do not have every single product in the flooring universe because, as you know, there's stains and finishes and all types of finished flooring, rubber, and blah, 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 private labels. We do offer every one of our clients the ability to send us their product list. Within 48 hours, we will contact those manufacturers for those products, get those technical specs, and add them to our database, and then send our customer an email saying they're ready to go.
I bet suppliers love that.
They love it because, they have the same vested interest. And essentially, they don't want to have claims either because they're very expensive. It creates a lot of, turbulence with relationships, the inspection process, the cost, the litigation. I mean, really, it's expensive for everybody, right? So they actively promote our solution all the time, really. Some of the biggest. It's great.
How often does a flooring dealer get jammed up because maybe the moisture content is too high and they just can't do the install? They can't get around to it because, man, rainy season, and this probably helps them a lot with that conversation with their client, right?
You're 100% right. I mean, what we're hearing right now, we've got over 200 flooring contractors across the U.S. and Canada, a handful of general contractors, and now we're bringing on millwork guys for the same reason that we're talking about hardwood. It happens commonly, right, where conditions are not within spec. Our system, because it's hourly, our reports are very professionally formatted, and they can even put their client on the system as a user, and it really makes the conversation a lot more professional. It's objective, and it helps educate people on the importance of the site conditions. So what we commonly hear is, this is the data I've always needed to convince my client, which is usually either a home builder, a general contractor, or a homeowner, that the site conditions really have to be held in a certain range to avoid a problem.
So walk me through this a little bit. I sell a wood job, and so I put the monitor on a wall. Is it in the same room where I'm delivering the wood to acclimate?
Yeah. So there's actually 3 phases. We would call it the kind of the pre-installation phase, where you put a sensor on the site a couple weeks or even a month in advance, just to get a real-time look at what that site's conditions are, how stable that site is it swinging out of control, whatnot. Then they'll ship material there when it's obviously in spec. Keep the sensor in the area where the material acclimates. It's specific to wood. That's super critical. And then once it's acclimated, they'll come on site, keep our sensors there during the installation. And some clients will even leave the sensor behind for a couple weeks or even a month or two after they're done. Just because sometimes, other trades could be there, leaving windows and doors open or turning off controls and all that. So there's really 3 different kind of use cases.
I think we talked about that. It was where somebody called up and you can sense a problem, and the contractor can call up that customer and say, hey, you got open windows or something? Because there's a lot of moisture coming in, or a lot of wind, a lot of, it's affecting the environment. So we're not going to be able to install tomorrow because, the site condition isn't good enough for it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like what you're alluding to, really, it helps contractors schedule things better. So we constantly hear, no longer am I arriving at a site and finding out we can't really work today. So they're basically having that real-time visibility. If they have 5 projects and they have 5 sensors, they're getting a sense of which ones are right, which ones aren't. So they're not wasting their time showing up and basically having to redeploy their labor to another site and miss the morning or miss a whole day, depending obviously on the distance.
Will it tell you if the material acclimated?
Well, okay. So in order to do that, we do have a specific feature that we built into this, working with the NWFA technical team. And what it will do is it has an area within the app where you still need to take a handheld moisture meter and take the actual readings off of the wood. So once you determine what that percentage moisture is from your meter, you will manually put that into the app, and then you essentially hit go, and it will take into consideration the real-time ambient temperature, humidity, the location at which you are in the country, and what the NWFA's guidelines are for moisture content, and that reading from the actual board that you're going to install, and it will give you a go or no go if that wood is truly ready to go relative to that real-time climate.
Okay. Now, there's probably a very low percentage in Arizona that cares about using this. What percentage of people don't properly make sure that the moisture content is correct and don't even have a moisture reader to make sure that there's not too much moisture in the product? Or
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you the true percentage, right? I don't know what that is.
Just a guess.
I do know from talking to the folks at the NWFA, it is something that is constantly taught in all their training courses. If I was guessing, I don't want to insult anyone in the industry, but probably half, and that might be high. And most folks, and I, by the way, I worked at Bostic for 16 years, so I'm very familiar with hardwood flooring adhesives and hardwood installation and all that. And, it's interesting because most folks will put wood on site for a couple weeks and say, hey, as long as it's been there for a couple weeks, it's acclimated. And that's not good practice, because as you know, all you need is a couple hours here and there for windows and doors to be open, and all of a sudden you've got moisture problems.
This reminds me of the home inspector that will go into a home that you want to buy, and they tell you all these problems with it that realtors are sometimes afraid of those people. I can imagine there's a lot of contractors that are afraid of stuff like this because they don't want to be told that it's out of specs. They don't want to be told that they shouldn't be installing it right now. So, and it's going to be all right.
Yeah, I would tell you, when you say contractors, are you talking specifically flooring contractors or general contractors or both?
Everything from contract installers to retailers. I mean, the retailer might not ever have been an installer, but he wants to get shit done and wants to get paid.
Yeah. So what I could tell you is, when we started this business 2 years ago, there were definitely what I would almost say naysayers that were like, this isn't going to work. GCs, builders, they're going to throw this thing out, or they're not going to use you as a flooring installer because you're difficult.
Right.
And that's honestly not at all what we're finding. And it's obviously it's wonderful that we're not. And we did proceed because we had interviewed a lot of homeowners, home builders, and GCs. And the common theme was they really just want it done right the first time, but they want data to support any pushback, right? So, sure, there's GCs out there that are going to force people to do certain things. I would be naive to say otherwise. But we are finding, once people are educating really their customers with our data, a lot of folks are kind of like really saying, oh, whoa, okay, I didn't really know it was that temperamental.
Yeah.
Or, of course, I don't want to, put in this 8-10 inch wide plank, which is extremely expensive in a luxury home or whatnot. And the other thing is, like, general contractors, they're definitely appreciating this new technology. And I would say there's a new era really of general contractor personnel. I'm an older guy, but like generally the younger folks that are coming out of the construction management programs, they are looking for data. They want reports. They want that to make better decisions. And quite honestly, our timing with all this has been great.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah. So it's also a great selling point for people to use. It's funny, I've seen great products that can really help people out, and so many people are afraid of the costs rather than looking at the opportunities that are within it, you know. So if you're using Floorcloud, your competition more than likely is not at this point.
That's correct.
So you got a real leg up. And what I like to do in my sales presentations is create them in a way that I want you to be confident to use me and afraid to not use me. So what's the consequences of not using me? You're going to get a product that's, if it fails, and it's likely going to fail depending on what climate you're in, whatnot, that not only is it not installed right, but the manufacturer is not going to back it up. And there's a whole host of people that are just pissed off at manufacturers because they're not standing behind the products that are being sold, and they're saying they're installed improperly. So the product could be installed properly, but if you don't have the evidence to show that it was installed, acclimated properly, and that the temperatures were right, you could be in trouble.
You're spot on. I mean, I have one example that's probably worth talking about. I mean, this is a commercial example. It was a hospital in the Massachusetts area done by a very large commercial flooring contractor. And it was one of the biggest brands of rubber that everybody knows. And I can't say what it was. But basically, the flooring installer put the floor in. It failed. They basically had to, quickly redo it without any, time to complain and litigate. Because it was a hospital, and the manufacturer came in there and looked at the situation, and basically our client provided Floorcloud data reports showing it was properly acclimated. They ended up getting a 7-figure check from that manufacturer, and I'm not kidding. And we hear stories like this commonly, very commonly. I mean, and then what I would tell you is, if it's homeowner related stuff and all that, you touched on winning more business because of this. Our clients tend to be the best installers in the area, and those folks are already used to charging premiums, right? Because they have quality. And when they add this to their mix, some of our guys have actually even included our literature with their bid packages, and they make it part of their presentation on why them.
Good.
And they clearly say they win more business because this separates them from the pack. There's nobody else able to deliver job site quality control like our clients, basically.
That's what I find with a lot of really good people is they're good at what they do, but they're not good at selling what they do. So building this into your presentation along with everything else that you do, because I interview people when they hire me and as a consultant, what I do is interview them in their process. And I'm just astounded at the process that they go through, and they almost take it for granted. The guys that do sand and finish, I've never done sand and finish before, but they're selling it like it's as easy as painting drywall. And they're selling it too cheap, and they're intimidated and scared to sell it for $7 or $8 a square foot versus $2 or $3 because the competition's selling it that cheap. But if you show them that you're using the right tools and you have the right data to back it up, I mean, who wants a $30,000-$40,000 floor to fail? If you can get that insurance that, hey, this is being done right. Yeah. What about after the sale, after the install? You said sometimes they leave it in longer. Is there any homeowner or something that just wants to keep it?
Sure. We have, so our sensors have a 3-month battery life, right? They can be fully recharged in a couple hours, or they can be plugged into a traditional wall outlet, 110 outlet, and run indefinitely. And we do have clients that basically primarily large luxury homes in the mountainous areas of the West, and ski resort type stuff and all that, they'll extend their warranty to those clients as long as a Floorcloud sensor is on site. because it really does, it helps everybody avoid we shut the home down and we went away for the summer and everything, started to fail, and then they blame the flooring contractor. So there's folks extending warranties, not all the time, but it definitely is starting to happen now.
Yeah, good. Somebody was asking in our forum that what is a good cheap wood, or what's a cheap wood that he can get, a supplier that has something cheap. I said, well, a good cheap wood, that's called a laminate. Why are you trying to do things on the cheap? Let's look to do things better.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just sell a laminate or luxury vinyl if a customer wants something cheaper? If you're going to do wood, just do it right. But
I agree. Yeah.
On things like sand and finish products, you probably have to have certain climate in order for it to take the stain properly.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we always defer to the NWFA standard. AWI is the Architectural Woodwork Institute, which we're a new member of that too, but they have the same situations in millwork. But basically, the NWFA has a set of standards, and the standards kind of vary per a map they have of the country, and that's all baked right into our app, so they can really maintain things properly.
Yeah, the goal for my clients, for me with my clients, is to make sure that they're the most expensive and people go with them anyway. And I could see when you're adding this and other tools into your presentation, then it's a no-brainer to go with you. So again, some people don't even have a moisture reading when they're doing a project.
The other thing that's awesome to hear. I mean, I fully subscribe to that. I mean, this system is for the best contractors, right? And if your objective is to help them be the best and command the pricing that the best really earn, this is a logical fit. And I would tell you that, if someone's on board with Floorcloud, they're part of our, the Floorcloud community. And, we'll train them, not just on how to use the product, but how to sell the product. We've got all kinds of PowerPoint presentations and sales tools that we use to capture clients. But a lot of that stuff, some of our better customers will say, can you give that to my specifier? Can you give that, to my salesman that's traveling and pitching my company to GCs in the area, or even trying to win a big luxury home or whatever? And we do all that stuff. And it definitely works. I mean, they separate themselves from the pack, especially the pack of the low bidders.
Right. So, Scott, what is the cost of the product? How does it work?
Sure. We have two different plans. We try to make this thing very flexible, very affordable for people to step into it. So we have like an app only, which is more or less a stripped down version of our kind of commercial plan. And what we do is we bill by the sensor by month. So it's a subscription. It's a software as a service subscription. And the light plan, which is kind of the app only, is $29.99 a month per sensor. And you can order one sensor to get going. If you don't like it, you basically send it back to us and you're done. Quite honestly, that really doesn't happen that much, most actually at all. But basically, people will usually start with a couple, and then before they know it, they're calling us saying, hey, give us 5, give us 6, 7, 8, whatever. Then we also have a full-on commercial plan, and that gives them more stuff. It gives them access to our desktop. They have all their branding in the software and reports, unlimited users, and access to an integration that we built with Wagner Meters, which has the L6 rapid RH concrete probes that go in the slab to basically monitor slab relative humidity and slab temperature, so that the guys can test essentially to ASTM 2170 and read that remotely as well. And that's $79 a month per sensor. So, there's different plans. I would tell you, 90-something% of our clients are on our commercial plan, but we are getting more and more smaller businesses on with our light plan, which is really app only. a handful of sensors, and they're up and running. So I don't want to scare anybody.
I mean, even at, well,
Yeah.
you can't be scaring people at these prices. I mean, it's like, it's free. It's, there's no cost involved in this. I mean, $30 a month per sensor on that plan, and even 79 for bigger clients with bigger clientele. You know, you're talking to get 10 sensors would be $800 a month. That's nothing. You know, any one job will cover that, more than cover it. And then
Yep.
what would let's say I'm selling this to my customer, so they want it. They're snowbirds. They're in Arizona and then they go home, or they're not in their home all the time. So I'd like to have a sensor that I can monitor as the homeowner.
Yeah.
What would that look like for them?
Yeah. So what could be done there is the flooring contractor could offer this really as a new service offering, and they could just call it, they have a monitoring service. They would take, one or two sensors, probably on the light plan, leave them behind in the homeowners, in the house with them plugged in. They could put the homeowner on the app, and the homeowner could get alert as well, and just charge them a monthly fee and mark up our cost. And then that was the other piece I wanted to touch on, was we do have plenty of our, I don't want to say more savvy, but I don't know, contractors basically mark up our product and put it right in their bid. And not only do they cover the cost completely, they turn it into a revenue stream. And for residential folks, if we're charging whatever 30 to 80 a sensor, if a job only takes a month, they might write in $100 monitoring fee, and they completely cover that sensor, and they make a little money on the side, and they protect their company.
I was talking to a flooring dealer today that specializes in wood flooring, and I thought he was going to say he was using your product, and I was going to say, that's really funny. I'm talking to Scott later, but he was asking about humidifiers, and should he sell the humidifier and as an upsell or something. I said, just put it in your bid. Don't charge him anything for it. Just, I don't know what a humidifier runs. If you got to charge an extra $500, $600, throw it in your bid and give it to him for free.
I agree. I mean, I think some of this, like our stuff, honestly, it's very affordable. Another way to bring customers into the fold, obviously that was the homeowner explanation. If they're selling to a builder or a general contractor for more commercial stuff or whatnot, you can put the general contractor or the builder on the system. They're getting value just for being on the system, because they use our data to make other decisions. If it's appropriate to put millwork in, or drywall, or painting, or wall coverings, everything interiorly. Yeah. So the GC or the builder, they'll get a lot of value out of that. And the other thing is just increase your reporting. We have a real simple report generation feature in there. It takes a minute to generate a super professional PDF, and just hit a button and it goes off to their client. So they can enhance the frequency that they actually communicate, professionalize it, and do it very, very simply. So that client of theirs will feel real value, is what I'm trying to get at, for that nominal fee that they may, insert into the bid.
Okay, forgive my ignorance in this, but I'm a contractor. I'm an installer. I'm installing the floor. Can conditions change so dramatically during the install that I get, time out, totally. And will the sensor alert you to that?
Totally. So, I mean, our sensors they're every hour they're reporting data 24/7. So, you could be on a project. Maybe some folks might leave some windows open and go out for lunch and decide not to come back. And all of a sudden the humidity, or it's too hot, too humid, too dry, too cold, whatever. As soon as it dips out of that spec range, you'll get an alert. So you can get right back in there and adjust things. And, in your market out there in Arizona, I know it gets very cool at night. And, those fluctuations, it will immediately be detected on our software and be relayed to the user.
That's true. It was damn near freezing last night. It got down to 98 degrees. It's awful. We don't get cool here. Maybe up north.
Oh, I thought you guys had the big swings out there. Don't you have
Oh
them?
no,
Hot and
no.
cold? Oh, I thought
Yeah,
it could cool at night.
we go from hot to hot as hell. To
All
a
right,
little.
I'm thinking of
So
San Diego.
somebody said, "What's it like to move to Arizona?" And the question or the answer was, "Well, have you ever been cremated before?"
Oh God.
So it's been nasty here lately. But are those temperatures difficult to do installations in when it's that hot?
Sure. I mean,
Uh, I mean, we
yeah.
sustained 110 degrees for like a month straight.
So, when it comes to adhesives, if they're doing any type of adhesive installation, right? Or they're putting down any type of moisture vapor control barriers or things like that, any
Right.
liquid applied products, of course it's critical. Temperature plays a big part. I mean, you could get adhesives that are starting to, kick off faster and all that. And then you run into exceeding open times and you don't get the bond you need, all that stuff.
So I'm thinking primarily wood flooring, but yeah, I mean, you got the adhesive. I mean, hell, even in carpet, there's conditions that may not be ideal for installing.
Yeah, wood flooring is a massive opportunity for our company. Most of our clients are doing healthcare, education, luxury residential is there, and let me think, lab space. A lot of the materials, I mean, wood is a no-brainer, but some of our bigger clients are really using it wherever rubber's going, luxury vinyl, self-leveling underlayments, coatings, primers, and then of course stains and finishes. So it's all that stuff.
All right. Wow. Anything else that you guys are up to? Anything else that you're doing? Or is it um
A lot going on. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
so I can tell you, when you think of Floorcloud, you're thinking of it for the very reason, we met, right? So it's a solution to monitor conditions, right? But we've also, we focus on making the application super intuitive and easy to use. A lot of our customers have asked us to build in other functions to help them with their field operations. So we have built in photo capture. So not from the sensor, but from the phone. So as long as you have our app on the phone, you can take a photo from within the app and type a quick note and hit save, and that photo is stored in the cloud forever. So to talk specifically about how really flooring contractor or residential hardwood guys are using it is when they show up to do a job, they simply walk around the property interior and they'll take photos of things that may be dented, appliances that are dented, or chips and things like that to 100% photo document what the situation is. And that stuff all resides in the cloud. So, at the end of the project or 6 months later, if they get called, they could pull out photos within 2 seconds of our app and say, by the way, this is a time and date stamp and geo positioned photo that we took showing that the first day this was already, damaged, dented, whatever. So photo documentation's huge. We also built in the ability to assign tasks to any user that has the app. So you can basically send a task, go pick up this or don't forget to sand this. And it's assigned to an individual. The individual completes the task. The assignor basically gets a notification that it's complete, and that's stored in the cloud as well.
So is
And
this being utilized as a CRM as well?
not quite a CRM, but it's got some features that are like
customer,
touching in on around that.
it's really
You know?
customer management or a project management tool that can be used for a lot of things. And then will it integrate with I recommend Floors app for flooring software. Does it integrate with some of the flooring software out there?
So it's starting to. We are just completing an API. One of the bigger ERP systems We'll be announcing our integration at the end of the year. And we're also building this whole thing out right now to be part of Procore's app marketplace, because a lot of our larger clients are always using Procore and they'd love it if we could be part of that. So it is a big part of our game plan, is to create an open API where we can integrate into more and more systems.
Hey, did you guys get caught up? This just happened like 4 or 5 days ago from this recording. We're doing this July 31st, but CrowdStrike protects software, Microsoft users, but it just had a huge failure, which affected all the airlines, but affected a lot of companies that are cloud-based. Did that touch you guys?
Not at all. I mean, we're basically an AWS platform. It's been unbelievably great. And then the relationship we have on the device side is with Verizon. And Verizon is honestly exceptional in the area of IoT devices, security, and coverage. So we had no issue at all.
I was wondering about that because you were talking. I saw your video, and it looked like you were promoting it along with Verizon. Do you have to have a Verizon phone system for this, or
no?
Will it hook up with any phone?
Great question, right? So the cellular, our sensors, and I wish I had one on me here, I would show and tell it. But basically, our sensors are always on, but they are always on the Verizon cellular IoT network, which is slightly different than just a Verizon phone network.
Oh,
it's a unique band or unique channel, unique to that radio frequency, and that doesn't mean the user's cell phone has to be on Verizon. We have plenty of people that have phones on all the different carriers. It just happens that our sensors are connected to that network.
And so with the real-time data, I'm able to show the homeowner, hey, these conditions, I can't install in these conditions.
Right.
When the installer or retailer know and understand the conditions, can they do anything to change it? Put in equipment, humidifiers, whatever, to try and mitigate the problem.
Yeah. So two things I want to add. So one is we have a 1-page report. It's you'd call it almost a submittal. And what it does is any product that you're going to monitor or any industry standard that you're going to monitor it to. So if you're working with hardwood, the NWFA standard, and let's say you had a couple adhesives from any of the big brands on that project, you can create a 1-pager with a click of a button in our software. And what it does is it lists on a nice formatted sheet of paper here the conditions that are tied to the spec, the NWFA spec, the temp and humidity ranges, as well as each one of the products' individual specs, and then the overall temperature and humidity range that needs to be maintained on that project for everything to be in spec. So our clients will take that document, send it off early to the homeowner, builder, GC, and say, hey, these are the standards, these are the specs that I need this building to be within, so that we all can be assured we're going to get the warranty that this owner is expecting, whether it's a homeowner or a large building owner. So that's absolutely critical, and it's worked out wonderfully. And we recommend everybody do that all the time.
Have you ever had a client call you and say, things are out of spec right now, and this homeowner's insisting that we get this job done before Friday. I've got no way I can get this done before Friday, and I certainly can't even start on the job right now.
Yeah, so that's the other part to your question that I realized I didn't answer. But commonly they'll bring in humidification, right? So they'll change the air conditions either one way or another. And we typically see things like a Sunbelt rental humidifier and a commercial grade humidification unit brought on site to actually help fix a excessively dry situation, or a dehumidifier brought in if necessary. And then, of course, temporary heaters and all that. So it's very common, very common.
Yeah. So, and then all the monitoring, it's in the cloud, lives forever. So 5, 6 years. What's some of the oldest that you've seen where people wanted to come? Well, you've only been around for a couple of years, right? So
yeah, I mean, we opened the doors to bring clients on October of 22, and occasionally someone will go back that far on a report, and they have the data and they're delighted. Generally, I think it's a shorter period of time that they're using our data, but if they need it, they'll have it forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and how about I don't know, just more evidence and more in the homeowner's files to say that this was done properly by this company and pass along the warranty and the insurance that somebody new buying a house. So if somebody's selling their house, they can assure them that, yeah, we got these wood floors installed by, Jay-Z flooring installation, and they did a good job. Here's all the reports. Here's the file for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's makes great sense. I would tell you that. Well, what was I going to say? I kind of lost my thought. Sorry. that we'll leave it at that. But that's very applicable.
So you got a pretty good website, easy to understand. You could book a demo. Just go to floorcloud.com.
Yep.
And all the information's there. They can get a hold of you. So anybody that needs anything, and how long, I need some sensors, how long does it take to get them?
Honestly, we could do it the same day if it's a rush. Ideally, we tell people we'd like a couple days, but it's not long. We have fully charged, ready to go equipment here at all times. And if someone's really in a crisis, we'll send it out the same day. Where our goal is to help people avoid problems, and
you can't afford not to use it. You can't. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you do a wood flooring project or any project that requires moisture readings? Why would you not have it? It just doesn't make sense why you wouldn't have it.
You're completely right. I mean, some folks will look at it and they'll say, "Oh, I don't want to really add that cost." But in essence, it's always important when people are looking at a cost is to really think, like, just to do one trip to that job site to take any kind of readings, whether it's just to go there and take an ambient temperature or even a look to see if the place is closed in. It's a couple $100.
There is no cost. There's no cost. It's nothing.
I agree. And then if we help you protect your job and you avoid a failure, you just pay Floorcloud for 10 years.
Just do what Scott recommends. If the cost is a problem, just don't pay your taxes, right?
That's great.
Can I quote you on that?
Oh God. No.
I figure the highest cost is the supplier, so just don't pay your suppliers and you'll make a lot more money. Not for very long, but
Gary, I do want to say that, like, the suppliers are very positive on the system. We're at the point where many of the large brands of installation materials, adhesives, coatings, and all that, they're actually doing slides on Floorcloud in their training centers, just because they're really trying to do the right thing to make sure contractors are, putting their best foot forward.
Yeah,
because it's a mess for everybody if something goes wrong. It's not necessary anymore.
Well, I think as a whole, this industry is doing a better job on the business side of it. And you are seeing a lot more of that, a lot of people being more savvy when it comes to marketing, sales, and how they conduct themselves. The wood industry has come a long way. Give a lot of credit to NWFA for that, because there has been a lot of professionalism added and a lot more pride in what they're doing. So I try to teach anybody, anybody can sell flooring and anybody can have a flooring store. I just put wood in a different category though. Yeah. Like, I don't think wood's like most flooring products. Tile probably is too. Tile is probably a more unique category. It's a lot more complicated. Anybody can do carpet and luxury vinyl and laminate, but and I think with the help of an NWFA, you get the more professionalism. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, Matt Garcia, and there's just such a good opportunity to show people. I think the wood flooring industry is a very interesting industry in how it gets put together, how from creation to installation, how it's done is an interesting story, kind of like, building cars. You might be somebody that's not into cars, but you'll watch a car show because it's kind of cool, kind of interesting to see them build it, put it together. I think wood flooring is kind of the same way, the way they put it together, do the install, and some of the stuff that you see, the award-winning floors are just beyond your imagination.
It's an unbelievable craft. I mean, we would always associate, a home with hardwood flooring. I mean, it separates itself from the pack. I mean, a hardwood floor is on the caliber of fine furniture, really. And like what you're alluding to, I mean, the folks that do the ultra fine craftsman stuff, and those projects absolutely should have Floorcloud on it, because if something goes wrong with that's a sin.
I've got one client that changed his closing rate from like 30% now. Today, I just talked to him. He had 70% closing rate last month.
Wow.
And he specializes in wood flooring. So if you change the game, change the way you're talking, change the way you're selling, and realize what you're selling is something unique. Some of the things we've seen within the wood flooring industry is it doesn't have as much effect when the economy goes down. The people who buy wood flooring are still buying it. They got money, so the other less expensive products hurt more. Sure. But wood flooring dealers seem to do better no matter the conditions of the economy, because it's a different clientele. And you can command higher prices. You don't have to compete on price. You can definitely compete on skill level. And when you have stuff like Floorcloud, it really helps you a lot be more competitive.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, you're competing on craftsmanship, and then the logical tie into craftsmanship is job site quality control, and that's a double header that should separate you from any competitor.
Well, what I really love is information like you produce. If I could show somebody the report, they won't understand what the hell it means. The client, the customer, the homeowner, I'm showing them a report to say, yeah, this meets the standards. They don't know what it means. They don't care, but they trust me because I'm reading that report. It's very sophisticated. So I know how to read it, and they trust I know what I'm doing. So they don't have to understand it.
They don't have to, but you can also, on the report, you can point out, here's the NWFA spec. And then they can see that. They can see, okay, 60 to 80 or whatever it is in that region. I
would even do it in a way that's exciting. Hey, calling up the customer that day of the install and say, hey, good news. Everything's looking good. Moisture reading's great. We'll be there to install. Conditions are just right. We like to see it like this. Yep. I mean, that's a pretty cool phone call, to go from, we can install, the installers will be there about 10 o'clock to, hey, good news. Everything's looking great. Conditions are great to install your real wood floors. I mean, you could really do a lot with this.
I agree. I mean, that call right there is establishing you as high quality. You're monitoring that site. It's in spec. You're sending your team today. That right there, before the guys even arrive, they're like, whoa. We've got a super high-end installer handling our project. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, even that installer, the train, because they get the app, right?
Yeah.
The installer have the app, so they got the information right there. All right, everything looks good. We'll get started.
Yeah, exactly. And they can photo document anything they see too.
Yeah. And give you a lot more confidence in that installation team, which leads to referrals and repeat customers and more business.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a no-brainer. Great product. It was neat to come across this and see you at the show. So
it's like we connected with you, Jerry. This is great.
I'm glad got a chance to interview you. It's been a while. been trying to get you on the show for a few months. You've been busy.
We've been busy. Yeah, we have been. So, but I appreciate this opportunity. And of course, anybody that's interested, just, reach out to us. We typically will do a webinar or, a 20-minute presentation for a client, a potential client. We have a nice PowerPoint. We walk them through, answer any questions. And then, typically we'll have somebody say, hey, yeah, send me 1 or 2 or 3 or 5, whatever. And then we train them up and all that. We're fully engaged once they start with us. It's not like you get thing in the mail and we're hard to reach. We really focused on being reachable and kind of hand holding people through the training, which honestly takes less than 20 minutes.
Yeah, when you get this, you'll understand what an advantage it'll be, and you could use it in your sales presentation to make your sales presentation even better.
Absolutely.
So it's not just good enough to be really good at what you do. And I think it's funny that a lot of people, they get upset because customers don't appreciate their knowledge and their skill. And it's like, the other guy that came in didn't say, well, I'm a doofus, but I'm cheaper.
Right.
So it's up to you. If you really are good, you've got to display that somehow, right. and don't get too technical, but, show them your process of how you're going to go. Don't just take it for granted. They know moving the furniture, tearing out, floor prep, acclimation, show them the process that you go through. We put the Floorcloud in on this date, and we monitor the temperatures. So we know that your installation, I recommend people offer a lifetime installation guarantee. Why wouldn't you? Because any failures happen in the first couple of years anyway.
Right.
Now, most people will go out and fix a problem after 5 years if it was truly due to the installation.
Yeah.
So normally after 5 years, whatever the problem is, it's not due to installation. It's something else.
Right.
So why not offer a lifetime installation guarantee?
Yeah.
But this is one of the ways that you can do that is by, doing it right and knowing that the manufacturer stands behind you because of your process.
Yep. Exactly.
And we have it now in the industry a lot. Manufacturers are turning down claims. I mean, it hurts the manufacturer. It's a lot of money to be out, to pay for a claim. So
totally.
So you need evidence on your side, right? Or, if you're in the right, you still need that evidence to show the supplier that, hey, ironclad, this is not my fault. This is due to material failure.
That's right. Yep. So, we need to get you on the Floorcloud sales team, Jerry.
You got it. All right. Well, I'll be recommending it to my dealers that sell wood flooring. So awesome. I think it's a great product. So, all right. Thanks for coming on the show, Scott. And we'll catch up with you at the next show.
That's awesome. And I will be in Phoenix out in September. So maybe we should catch up.
Oh, you should wait till October. It'd be a lot cooler.
Okay.
But if you are here, I'd be happy to sit down with you. It'd be nice to see you.
All right. Well, cool. Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it a lot.
You bet. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Take care.
Thanks for joining the Flooring Business Podcast. Now, if you'd like to have a one-on-one discovery call and learn how you can increase your profit and sales by over 30%, go to jerrylevinson.com and let's discuss where you're at and where you want to go. Don't forget to tune in next week where we have another great podcast with another flooring pro.